Welcome back, everybody. This is going to be our lesson 3 on Algebra Essentials, Basic Exponent Manipulation, and this is part 1. And just to let you guys know, I know a lot of you, for the most part, I'm pretty sure you guys are pretty good with this material, and so just understand that we are going to do this just for review, so that as we progress, I just want to make sure you guys are sharp on this, so that you guys, when we take Algebra 2, again, will be none of this will be a challenge for you, because we use a lot of this in Algebra 2 as well. So, okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so question number 1, the steps in finding the product of 3x squared y to the fourth and 7x fifth y squared are shown below. Write either the associative property or commutative property to justify each step. Now, the associative property has to do with grouping, and kind of in this case, being able to, when dealing with multiplication, being able to move things, kind of group the items together. Normally, in associative property, we keep everything in the same order, but the grouping is changed, and still have the same result. While the commutative property is where we move things around and still have the same result. So that's what we're going to work with. Okay, so I'll make sure my font is okay. Okay, good. So, so here we go. We have 3x squared, and then y to the fourth times 7, then x to the fifth y squared. So this, all of the numbers and variables are in the same order, but we see we have different grouping here. So that will be the associative. Oops. Bring this down here. Okay, associative. Okay. Here we go, sorry. Associative property. Okay, because that's where things are grouped differently. Now, in the next step, we see that the 7 and the y to the fourth have switched places, and that'll be the commutative property. Again, so when they switch places with each other, okay, switch the order changes. That's the example of commutative property. All right, so in the next step, we notice in this case that we have everything in the same order. We have 3x squared, 7, y to the fourth, x to the fifth, y squared, same as before, but we now see the x squared and the 7 grouped. So that would be the associative property. Okay, because the grouping has changed. And then we see that the 7 and the x squared switched around in the next step, so that would be the example of the commutative property. So you guys can see in this case. Now, the main thing is not just identifying properties, but understanding that in algebra, when trying to solve things, we can just move things around and we're multiplying each other, and everything can still have the same result. So it's okay to in this case, in this case, move the 7 with the 3, as we see in this step here. But now we group the 7 and 3 together, and I think in this case, so here we put the 7 and 3 together, all right? And then also we see the x squared and the x to the fifth and the y to the fourth and the y squared. So here is this example of, and now it looks like we have grouping of 3 and the 7, but really we see here the x's and we'll group together and the y's group together. Here we're going to say this is an example of the commutative property. So all you guys are thinking, well, I'll just gotta alternate. No, this is a commutative property. Okay, it's here. All right, and then so we can just group things together. We're multiplying, and that's kind of the technique I like to use in this case. So just get a good look at this here. We start off with having 3x squared y to the fourth times 7 times x to the fifth y squared, 2 separate things. And in the end, notice in this step here, I'm going to stress this here. So that in the end, we end up getting the numbers multiplied together. Oops. Numbers multiplied together and the particular variables multiplied together. And so this idea of just grouping them all together is an important and quick way of doing multiplication with these variables, okay? So we want to do this now, and this works quite well, not only so much with just exponents of variables, but also with, in this case, with square roots. Okay, because a lot of students have difficulty with square roots. No, it's the same idea. We can, when trying to simplify things and multiplying two radicals, we can actually group things together. Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the second question. here, we want to find the product of the following monomials. So what we want to do is, I like to do it, like I said before, is group the numbers together and the letters together, because we can, because of the whole idea of commutative property and associative property. So we have 3 times 10 and x squared times x to the fourth. Well, 3 times 10 is definitely going to be 30. And x to the fourth times x squared, that will be x to the sixth power. Okay, so, all right. Now, in case you were saying, well, how is x to the sixth? Well, x to the fourth, x squared really is x times x. And x to the fourth is x times x times x times x times x. And so the idea is that when we expand everything out, because that's what really is, x squared means x times x, x to the fourth means x times x times x times x. What happens is when multiplying all together, we're multiplying the same variable 6 times, or x to the sixth power. But we learned from laws of exponents that the product rule really means, in this case, you multiply 2 numbers of the same base. We keep the base and add the exponents. Okay, let's take a look at b. All right, so b, again, the grouping together, so we have negative 2 times negative 9, x to the fifth times x. And so here, negative 2 times negative 2 is going to be positive 4. And x to the fourth times x. Now, a lot of students, because they don't see the exponent there, they think it's just 5. But we see here is really x to the first power. So if you need to put that little 1 there, because it should be x to the sixth power in this situation. Okay, for c, we'll group again. 4 times 8, x squared times x to the fifth, and then y times y to the third. All right, and so here, we're going to get, in this case, 4 times 8 is 32. X squared times x to the fifth will be x to the seventh. And y times y to the third, again, put that little 1 there, is y to the fourth. Okay? And for letter D, moves down a little bit. Okay, we have 5x to the fourth squared. Well, that really means that 5, oops, I put a negative symbol there, so that's not the case. So we have, in this case, 5x to the fourth squared means 5x to the fourth times 5x to the fourth. And so a lot of times when students do this, they know that when you raise a power to another power, you are going to multiply exponents. So you will definitely have x to the 8th power, because it's really going to be x to the fourth times x to the fourth. We also have, in this case, that it's 5 times 5. So a lot of times students forget, and the teachers too sometimes, we forget that it's really going to be squaring everything. So the answer really is going to be 25x to the 8th. Okay, and how do I take care of that? I just write out the whole thing as squared. I mean, sometimes it gets a little big, so we'll see that. But for these situations, it is much better to write out the expression. Oops. Okay, letter E. So here, again, negative 4 times negative 15. And then t squared. Oops, I wrote it differently, so let me rewrite again. So I'm going to write as I'm always writing it. So negative 4 times negative 15. And then t squared times t to the fifth. And so we're going to get, in this case, 60. And t squared times t to the fifth is t to the seventh power. So we see we can kind of see the pattern here. Multiply the numbers with numbers and matching letters by letters. Okay, and then now y the fourth? Well, that's by itself and all. So we're going to have, in this case, 35 x squared and then y the fourth. Okay, because it's just multiplying. Make this look a little nicer. Okay. Now, same idea as before. Okay, we'll have 2/3 times 12, and then x to the fourth times x. Now 2/3 times 12, well, I know that the 3 goes into 12 4 times and then times 2. Or use calculator, you will still get the same answer of 8. And x to the 4th times x, which is x to the 1st, will be x to the 5th. Okay, and finally we're going to do h, and we're going to multiply 2 times 5 times negative 6 times x squared times x to the 4th. And put that little 1 there. So 2 times 5 is 10, times negative 6 is negative 60. X squared times x to the 1st power x to the 3rd. X to the 3rd times x to the 4th is x to the 7th. Or we just add all the exponents together. Okay, there you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll put this full screen. All right, and I'll also box the answers so you guys can see them. Okay, so if I went a little too fast for you guys, you can always go back and watch them separately again, but the technique is really going to be rewriting out each of the problems, okay, and grouping the numbers together and the letters together until you feel comfortable enough with multiplying these monomials, because we're going to be going a little further with multiplication by not just multiplying monomials, but multiplying monomials with binomials and binomials binomials. So that's coming up as well too. All right, so you have to be good with this part before we move on to the next. This will be the end of part 1, and I hope that if this was helpful to you guys, please leave a like. Please leave questions and comments and feedback below in the comment section. Again, I know a lot of this is pretty straightforward for you, some of you, so you're probably thinking, oh, it's not a big deal, but it's really important for you guys to be good with this, okay? Make sure you catch the next parts because they get a little more interesting, and this series will continue all the way through to the very end of Algebra 2. So hopefully this will be helpful to you guys. All right. I know that for online learning, being able to see things done, it helps a lot. But I mean, we'd rather be in the classroom, at least for myself, at least. So in any case, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Again, I look forward to hearing from you guys. Subscribe to the channel and make sure to turn on notifications if you have not done so already to be notified when new videos are added. Okay. Take care, everybody. Be safe.